Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. Today, we have an awesome treat. We have Eric Presley in the house with us. He is a CTO of Career Builder. You may have seen him on national shows as well, where he provides insight around the tech labor market and has even been named as one of ComputerWorld's premier 100 IT leaders. Welcome to our studio.
Thanks a lot, Derek. Glad to be here.
Hey, we are lucky to have you. It just so happens that Ella Jane, your daughter, does the research and development for our shows and for other stuff for our agency, and is a rock star with us. And so her connection has made it lucky enough that we get to have you in the studio with us. So we're pretty excited. Man, I have so many questions I want to ask you, but can we kind of just start? Just give me kind of a background. My Career Builder's a huge company, and I've got questions about that specifically too. But tell me kind of your passion and your drive and what's kind of taken you in the career that you've been in.
Yeah. So I've always been in technology and software development, and kind of got my start in the internet space with a company called Headhunter.net, and then Career Builder purchased us in 2000. And I never would have thought I would have been in internet technology for recruitment for, I guess it's almost 19 years. But the industry is amazing. When you have the competition that happens in our industry, and then when you have with cloud computing and the cloud services, and people today now with a great idea, almost in a credit card and a little bit of backing and technology can really launch new and great and amazing services. And so that competition just makes it exciting, right? It makes it where you have to continue to innovate. And I think that, I'm sure it happens in a lot of different industries, but ours in particular seems to have attracted that. And so the passion at Career Builder is to really help people connect with the right careers for their current stage in life, and then set them on a path forward. So it's fun when, and we all experience it, right? A job changes our life. A new career changes our life. And you get a glimpse into those stories and into those connections. And you can kind of get, buried a little bit, but then your head gets lifted up by a great story in terms of the connections you've made. Or you've enabled a business, right? You've enabled a business to really move forward based on their people. And so that makes the day-to-day very, very rewarding.
I like that, and I like that you talk about appreciating the competition.
Yeah.
And yes, your space has attracted a lot of competition.
It has.
That's one of the main questions I had for you, and you addressed it in the first thing was, how does a company not only stay relevant but lead and pioneer innovation in such a competitive landscape?
Yeah.
Is it the competition that helps that?
It is. The competition helps, but it also takes a great leadership team. And I'm not really so much talking about myself. It's really our CEO, Matt Ferguson, and several other folks. They recognize that that innovation really happens across the entire company. So one of the things that Career Builder's done really over the years is we've had ideas from everywhere competitions, where you take business plans from people all over the business. And either we've gone through different evolutions where employees vote on the winners or the leadership team votes on the winners. But we have a significant data and workforce analytics business that was born out of one person presenting that idea. So now we, through one person presenting that idea, and then we fund it, allow them to start the business, it drove us to launch into a whole new area that's a significant revenue stream. Then it also got us connected with new companies. We bought a company out of Idaho called MZ that does labor market data, primarily for educational institutions, but it took us into new acquisitions, and it was all all organic from within. And so there's a few of those
this is all internal.
Yeah, this is all internal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
and
that.
So that listening, or the ability to be open to everybody's expertise in the company to try to drive that innovation, has been something that's allowed us to evolve as a business.
I like that. That's really cool, that approach. I love it. So tell me about, how do you build and motivate a team? You've got, doesn't CareerBuilder have 3,000 employees?
Yes.
Or a lot of employees.
Yeah. Building and motivating a team is it is a challenge, right? I think one of the things that we find, and specifically in my area, right, where you have mostly software engineers and technology professionals, the way you motivate people is you give them great problems to solve, and then you allow them to solve it and see the fruits of their labor. In my first job right out of college, I worked for a large R&D company, and I was there for 5 years. And I had the privilege of actually releasing products and seeing them used. But I had friends at the same big company that worked for 5 years and nothing ever got released.
Wow.
They never saw the fruits of their labor.
Right.
And then I worked at a small consulting company where every day depends on your production because of you're so small, right?
Right.
So I felt like as I wanted to build a team in my career, or if I had that opportunity, that again, the most satisfying thing is seeing the fruits of your work.
Right.
So we early on, when it was somewhat counterintuitive, it's normal today, but we released our software across our entire ecosystem every day.
Wow.
On a daily basis. At that time, I mean, it's a well-known industry standard now to do that. I mean, Amazon has things on their walls where they show they're releasing software every 10 seconds, every 20 seconds.
So that your team sees the results of their labor? Okay.
Yeah. And so that's what drives people the most, is being able to, again, see the results of their work.
Right. Wow. Okay. So tell me a little bit. I was reading about your early career and back before CareerBuilder, and even just how you were actually talking about lean software and not documenting anything. Everyone was so busy coding as fast as you could. I know something about that. I was reading through that, got me excited about thinking about the early days of just the busy work and creating. Take me back to that time. It's just something caught me about that, about how fun that would be. But then the need to put a system in place.
It is. It's an interesting. And I think we all experience what you learn in school and that what you learn in the real world are different.
Right.
And so in school, it was very much, in terms of software development, it was always do all this analysis up front, get everything figured out up front, document it, review it before you ever write really a kind of a line of code. And then when you enter the real world, you realize that, and when you're really trying to deliver business results, is you have to really learn what the right solution is. It's very hard in your own vacuum to document a solution without putting it in front of people and seeing them really use it. And so I learned when I went from the big company where everything was all planned to the small consulting company where that was how work was done, was again this iterative approach. And so when we started Headhunter.net, and there was only 8 of us there when we started, and we were building out this business. It was just scrappy. And then when we started to get big, I wanted to kind of fall back on what I felt like bigger companies did. But then as I learned and I dug in and learned about lean software development, and today the term is agile, is the more industry term, you learn that it's all about rapid iteration. It's about learning from real customers using your product and figuring out how to do it in an iterative fashion so that you learn the right solution rather than, predict it. Right.
Yeah, that's great. And you have to understand where the customers, what their needs and their desires are.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me, go into that a little bit more. I think that's so cool. You said it's agile, but you read a book about lean software development.
Oh yeah. We, again, this was back when you bought books at Barnes and Noble. And
hopefully people continue to do that.
Yeah, and they will
promote authors too.
Yes, absolutely. But I felt like we were at kind of a scalability, threshold.
Right.
And I was searching for some guidance, and I was trying to fall back on what I learned in school, and so I was starting to be kind of drawn that way. But then when I looked and I came across this book, Lean Software Development by Tom and Mary Poppendick, which we love those guys. We've actually, since then, we were so inspired by them, we brought them in to teach us. We actually had a Poppendick Award that we named after them.
Wow.
They're like, you have an award named after us?
That's very cool.
But they, Tom and Mary kind of established these just-in-time principles that you see that Toyota had applied inside of manufacturing, and then they began to really be able to articulate in a way related to software development. And when you open up this, when I opened up this book, and what I saw was a picture of how the real world works for software development. The principles were to deliver as fast as possible, to delay decisions as long as possible, and to really one of the big problems in software development is waste, unused code, unused features. Right? I think we all look at you pull up some of our desktop word processors now, and you look at the menus, and we're like, oh my gosh,
right?
How do I really need all this to write something? And so there is that tendency to build all that waste, and they tell you to really streamline, focus on the customer, focus on what they value, and really nothing else. So that helped us, I guess, really kind of navigate and scale the way we develop our products.
Wow. So tell me, how do you get customer feedback? What are the types of things that you do? Is it in person? Is it all through scalable models? What do you do? It
definitely has to be a multi-channeled approach. Right? I mean, we'll have a tendency to go all in one way or another, but just as an example, a couple of days ago, we invited some of our key clients that use our data and analytics tools to our office. Okay. And then we had our teams present their direction that they're going in. And then we asked them for direct feedback. Wow. And we asked them also, we want our teams to try to really learn their businesses and how they're using their products and services. And one of the things that we find is we all have a tendency to immediately start talking about our tools, what we have, what it is that, or how something's used. And we forget that from a customer standpoint is they have a why. Like why, what are they trying to accomplish? And the two can very much sometimes get misaligned. Right. And so, as an example, what we repeat to our teams constantly that employers just want to hire faster. That's all they want to do. They don't really care about how great your search technology is. They don't really care about your CRM for reaching out to job seekers, or they don't really care that much about response rates. They do when it comes to negotiation, but what they really care about is, are they able to hire faster and hire the right people faster with your tools? And you can kind of get lost in your product and miss out on the goal. And so we invite customers in. We want our engineers to connect with their missions, so that they can try to get out of kind of their day-to-day of their products and try to make sure they're helping customers achieve their goals.
That's great. I mean, so many different industries forget to do that.
Yes.
And we get wrapped up in we do the same thing. Yeah. And build something and realize that maybe it's not even a value.
Yes.
We were having that discussion in a meeting this morning.
Yeah.
What we're offering of value, we probably need to sit back down with the customer.
Yeah, you're right. Well, one of the things, I have a colleague I work with who is absolute tremendous. His name's Abdel Tefridge at getting customer interaction with our teams. And he has met so many customers in so many places that he has a real voice, for them. And one of the things that he reminds us of, and we learn a lot from so many companies. Amazon's another great company in terms of delivering products. And one of the things that Bezos will say is, he'll look in the room and he'll point to the empty chair and say, "Where's the customer? Where like us all in here talking is not that useful if we can't have a customer input." And we've done this. We did this about 6 months ago, where we were trying to investigate the next direction to take a product. And again, for more of an internal meeting, we invited 4 customers to come in. Wow. And and again, try to help set the tone, try to help people appreciate what it is that they're trying to do. And so we almost can't get enough customer interaction.
I love that. Where's the customer? We're going to implement that for ourselves too. That's great. We have a lot of meetings without the customer around, don't we?
Yeah.
So tell me about, and I don't want to focus on it, but I always like to learn how people deal with setbacks or failures and challenges, because I'm always in the mode of learning for that. And for me, I get asked often, what has failure meant to you? And now I realize, okay, that's been a part of my journey to learn or have scars. So how do you, I mean, you don't have to give specific examples, you can, but tell me about times when there's been setbacks or challenges, and how do you work through those things, even not necessarily personally, but your own model for figuring out solutions whenever you're faced with something that may not have an obvious solution to.
Right. I think you're right. It's a tough question because it's I don't know that there's something that formulaic, to come at it. But I think there's a couple things. One, in terms of when you're doing product development, people have a tendency to think of failure as something bad, right? And one of the key things that even was pointed out in Lean is that if you're not failing, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough,
right?
And if you and there's a difference between repeated failure, right, and failure because you're stretching. Okay, repeated failure should be, or a similar failures repeated should be corrected, right? But because you stretched, because you tried to go beyond, those failures are great because of the tremendous learning that you can get. As long as you
part of testing.
As long as you didn't spend a lot of time, right? That's the other thing we always hear about is fail fast, right?
Yeah.
Is the faster you can fail, the better. The other thing I think we do is, or at least that I try to do, is when failure happens, because at my level, typically, if I fail, it doesn't affect just me; it affects other people.
Right.
And I've made poor decisions on how we've either done incentives or how we've tried to, help our engineers maybe understand maybe either some of their career or maybe more around incentives for them. And the best thing to do is just admit it and be honest about it, and be transparent. As long as people believe that you were trying to do something that was helpful for the company, and that as long as your motives were right and you failed, and if you can be transparent about that, then I think people will show you grace. So I think those are the main things. I think
it's great. Yeah, you've got to be honest when you fail, right?
Yeah.
Don't cover it up.
Yes.
And so have you, for your own mindset, are you able to quickly get past a failure because you really do understand where it fits in the process of learning?
Yeah, I think so. I always think I'm always so impressed with people that do professional sports or college sports, right? And you see those guys, how they can fail at one end of the court, and when they come back down to the next end of the court, they've forgotten the failure. That fast. And then they sink the great 3-pointer or make the great drive when they just did something really stupid prior.
Yeah.
And that ability, you just gotta take the learning, shake it off, and then move on, right? And then revisit it only as it helps you, right? But not revisit it that it hurts you. I like that analogy. You're reviewing the game tape. Oh yeah. And then when you see a mistake, it's really, and we've had guests that talk about this, but it's really in the timeline of the game, it's one tiny second. Yep. There's still other opportunities to do well and to improve and learn from it. Great analogy in the professional sports. I love that. Yeah. So, and it's the Michael Jordan example that I think I heard again yesterday. It's been overused, but he missed more shots than he made. Yeah. Right. But then he would still take that ball. He would want it, and he would shoot the winning 3-pointer at the end of the game after he missed more shots than he made. Yeah. And didn't let it bother him, and had that confidence and learn from it. I want to talk a little bit more. You're a husband, a father, a leader, all of those things. And this is the Business Leadership Series. Yeah. And our listeners are always looking for balance and for other areas of their life. So tell me about having balance in life, and it's tough. And you're in specifically in your industry, you're in one that always has competition. I know you can't sleep at the wheel in the business you're in at all. We can't. Yours must be 1,000-fold with the space that you're in. How do you
have that stress or have that responsibility and have balance in your life in general? What are some things that you've either learned or that you do?
Yeah, I think you're right. Balance is so tough, right? And I hear people talk about it on your show, which I think is great. And I think some of it always is to always be learning from other people, because I'll ask them the same question, and I'll pick up learnings from them. I think some of my biggest things are, as best you can, is I try to turn off, when I come in the door, and I try to not try to have the boundaries, the established boundaries that are in life. The other thing I think is, and we talk about it at work, is I shouldn't be the only one carrying the burden of our business, and I'm not, and so we have built a tremendous team that they all carry the burden. And we try to look for that. We try to look for where someone is they're seemingly having to do too much to be a hero, for the business to be a success. And in our size and scale business, you can't have a lot of heroes. Heroes are good. I mean, they're good for the moment, and we love people that will extend and move beyond. But to scale is, you have to have systems, right? You have to have processes. You have to have the right level of overall monitoring, such that heroes are not what your business depends on. So anyway, so I think it's really more of that recognition of I'm not a hero. I'm part of a team, and my team is carrying the burden, and I can let things go till tomorrow, or I'm just not. We all know, like, our email box is ridiculous in terms of the amount of people that are wanting things, and I just can't cover everything, and I've got to find the right way to prioritize and just let some things go.
That's great. That's great advice. We're going to be pulling some quotes out of that about not being the hero. That's awesome. Our systems and processes, guys like Scott Beebe, who's a consultant we work with, is going to love hearing that one too. He's like, I told you, no heroes. And I understand your point. I've not heard it shared that way, and I love that. Thank you. That's solid gold. We're pulling a quote out on that one. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about we're studying deep work here. The book Deep Work by Cal Newport, where it talks about taking blocks of time and not living by your inbox. And some of the CEO, CTO roles are, you're hovering a certain way and you've got to be putting out fires and doing some of those things. But how do you talked about turning it off and not worrying about your inbox. My inbox is crazy. It's probably 1/10 of what yours is. I can't even imagine, and I can't keep up with it. So how do you intentionally, though, set blocks of time, or do you have a method for how you proactively own your role to be as productive as you can in it?
I wish I was better. I think I think what I don't have something that's formulaic. I think what I end up having to do is I know our business priorities. I know I'm very clear about where we're trying to go, and I'll prioritize those teams and those people and those technologies at the top of my list. And I'll make sure I'm talking to those people, meeting with those teams, understanding the directions of those products, and I'll prioritize my time based on the business priorities. And then when I need to go deep, what I'll typically do is I'll block off time at night, just kind of from when you're, we all go through spikes, kind of in our careers, when you're having to turn a corner or really climb the crest of a hill or whatever it is. And I'll talk about it with Ange, my wife, and then I'll just set out time at night. When it's quiet and everybody's asleep, and I've been able to do that for those spikes in life. But other than that, it's just been making sure that I'm aligning my time with the most important priorities of the business.
That's great, and I like that you recognize that it's a spike or a season.
Yes,
what we call it.
Yep.
And that's I had one of those last night. My wife reminded me. I said, I don't know how I'm going to get all this done today.
Yeah.
And we're in a season of growth.
Yes.
And she reminded me. She said, hey, let's work on some stuff tonight. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's a nice quiet time. I'm looking for quiet. There we go.
Yes.
And an hour of that solved what I needed to get done. So I mean, and I know that it's just a season. So that's great advice and perspective on it. So tell me about what does success look like for you?
It's a tough question, I guess, because I mean, for me, I think I guess I keep thinking of the word contentment, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I feel like from my I don't need a lot to be content, I guess. And it's really, I guess maybe success is really about for us is really just our relationships, especially in our family, and then the contentment that we have with our faith, and the just the assurance that we're investing in our time and efforts in the right things, and really investing them in growing our family, and investing in their time and their character.
What's your proudest professional accomplishment? And I ask some people that, and they either talk about something big, or they say, you know what, it surprised me that it was back here at the beginning. Or so, tell me in your professional career, what's been your proudest accomplishment?
That is really hard, because I'll just say I feel like I've been tremendously blessed with, I think, just amazing opportunities and amazing people that I've been surrounded with. So as far as I guess my proudest business accomplishment, I think it would be. I believe it would just be kind of where we are with Career Builder. Again, it's hard for me to pick kind of one thing because I feel like it's been such a continuum, I guess. Or maybe the other way, I guess that I would answer it is maybe my proudest business accomplishment is realizing who I am and realizing what are my gifts. Yeah. And then recognizing that it's okay that I don't have all the gifts. I have a few key ones, and I try to maximize those. And there was a point in my career, I can remember where I was in my driveway. I think I was talking to my dad, and I was feeling a lot of pressure to go back and get my MBA, and kind of where we needed to go as a business, and I looked around at my family. I looked around at all the things that were going on, and I realized this is. I wasn't sure it was a fit for me, and then the pressures it would mean to accomplish that. Yeah. And I kind of crossed the chasm, because it was this was something that had been building up in my mind, in my heart for a while. And I remember making the decision then that no, I'm not going to do it. It's not who I am. I kind of feel like I can wing enough of the business piece because of great people that are surrounding me, that my gifts are really more in software development and engineering and leading teams that want to build products and services that customers love. Yeah. And if my company outgrows me and needs more of a business person, then that will be great. I mean, that would be fine. Yeah. So it, I guess, for me, it's just that, again, the realization of who I am, who I'm not, and being okay when you're recognizing that you don't have everything, and then knowing how it is that you want to focus. Yeah,
that's great. And don't have everything, and that you don't have to have everything. Yes. You don't have to own. I've had to learn that in my own life. I'm still learning it in a big way. Is I don't have to be the best at every single thing.
Yes. Yeah.
In order for things to run well. In fact, there's people that do things way better than I do in other categories. Yeah. And I'm learning what you learned that time. Now I'm in that process of going, here's the things that I'm good at, and I can accept that. Doesn't mean we don't keep trying to better ourselves. Yeah. But we also realize that there's things that we maybe just are taking us down a path that we don't need to put all of our focus on. Yeah. At the sacrifice of the things that are going really well. Yeah. I love that. So I had a report from somebody on the topic of servant leadership, which we talk about often here, working with CEO Global, who's been great about that and has really taught me a lot about it. And it's about you moving to a new office and having a choice of where you wanted to be as an executive in a big 3-story office, and you chose the one by the dumpster when you could have any view that you wanted to. So tell me a little bit about
the dumpster view.
The dumpster view. Tell me a little bit about, and we might, if you haven't coined it, we might coin that in servant leadership and say, are you as a leader taking the dumpster view for your team or something like that? But tell me a little bit about that mindset. Why?
It comes, I guess, from so many different angles, right? You hear, I can't remember. Sometimes you're not sure if some of these stories are true, or they just sound so good that they should be true. Of the guy who works at the grocery store, and the CEO's walking through and sees some trash on the ground, and he picks it up. And other employees are just kind of walking by it, and I think of kind of for Career Builder or for my place of work is I want to treat it like it's my place, right? And I want our people to treat it like it's their place, like they own it. And so what in order to do that, if I want to treat it like it's my place, is I want to provide as best I can the best opportunities for the people that are around me, right? And you learn, we all learn through leadership, is that it's not about you, right? It's about your team, and it's about your people.
Right.
You have to find your joy and satisfaction by seeing them achieve success.
Right.
And so whatever I can do, small things, but whatever you can do to elevate them, and then kind of mediate yourself, is what one of the things that I think, anyways, that helps or tries to kind of set that tone.
I see a lot of us have to learn that, and I think it's something that maybe you've had to learn it, but that seems like it's authentic. Not that mine's not authentic, but that is just part of your nature. Would you feel like you just had that mindset in general, or have there been moments that taught you, wow, I need to really make this not about me, or
Yeah. Well, no, I think you're right that. I don't know when we I guess our point in our lives when it's hard to learn humility, I guess, right? But when you start to learn that humility is really about strength, and not about weakness, and you choosing to step back, or you choosing not to call attention to yourself. There's a great proverb that I absolutely love, where it just simply says that when you enter the room, don't go and stand by the king's side. Go over where everyone else is, and let the king reach over to you and go, "Hey, what are you doing there? Right. You need to be over here next to me."
Right.
And then if he didn't recognize you, fine, right? But how we learn and experience humility, and that, I guess that's what you're describing as servant leadership, and you find ways, I guess, to practice that and put it in play as much as you can on a daily basis.
It's awesome. And we've been reading The Go-Giver Leader, which has been a really cool book. We studied that a few months ago, and it talks about yielding as being really a strength, and you don't use it as a power move. Yeah. But yielding many times in a relationship is actually strength. Yeah. And so I love the way you put that humility is actually a strength. Yeah.
So and the other thing it makes me, and I don't know if this is helpful, is when you're in software development, and when you're in, and maybe it's also just in broader, just general product development, is you have to be humble to be able to learn from your customers. Right. If you go in and think you know everything and you're just going to present them what you have, then you're typically going to fail. And so I don't know, also if our industry doesn't teach us, we have, this guy Abdel I work with, he just hammers home, is that we have to have the beginner mindset. Mm-hmm. You have to, you may have tremendous knowledge, but you've got to enter into the conversation or situation with a customer as best you can with a blank mindset, so that you can ask questions and learn, and be careful that you don't steer them to where you want them to be. But instead, again, that you're trying to learn. And so that also obviously can help with just, with being humble, is just the way that we need to learn what our solution is, can reinforce it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. This is great information. Just a couple more questions for you. Hey, I wanted to ask you about Talent Gather, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, I love that thing. So I had, when you asked about greatest business accomplishment, I tried to stay away from it, but
sorry,
it's okay. No, what I like about it is so Talent Gather is it's an example of, I think, a lot of things that we do at Career Builder, where it's innovation that happens from listening to a customer. We try to give developers time, or really people time, through hackathons and other things to try to develop solutions. And so specifically with Talent Gatherers, we just had heard from a client who was using some of our college solutions products that he was at career fairs and was just inundated with paper. And I'm thinking, okay, this was 2016. And I understand the relationship. I mean, college recruitment is huge, and events are massive. But people are still exchanging information with paper. And it just seemed crazy,
right? And
so,
not effective.
Not effective. and one of our guys that we typically innovate together. I don't know why. A guy, Adam Parker, that I work with, great guy. We looked at each other and we thought, this is crazy. And so anyway, so at our next hackathon, we said, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna pull together the technologies to just allow recruiters to take pictures of resumes. We know how to, on phones, obviously we can take pictures, we can turn them into text. Career Builder has resume parsing services where I can parse out names and emails. And then we have back-end database search engines that we can put them in so that they can do later, CRM kind of email connection to them. And so we just started it on one hackathon, and Adam and I did the basics of the application. It was so much fun. But as you know, it's hard. It's hard figuring out how to embrace innovation is hard. At companies, and so for the better part of a year, Adam and I would just kind of work at night, or we'd pull aside Friday afternoons. We would use our hackathons, and we had great business, frontline business people that sold our solutions to colleges, and they would take our little prototypes and march them around. And it was really just a tremendous partnership between people on the front lines in the business, engineers that were passionate about solving the problem. We had customers that were very passionate about, please get rid of this paper. And we all kind of just worked on our own kind of time. And so anyway, so now we have a college solutions team.
That's awesome.
We have 2 people dedicated to the product now. Adam now is driving the whole thing. And then there's a great team on the business side that sell it along with our other solutions.
Wow.
And we've had other solutions to the college space, and this just really helped round it out.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun, and it was really good. For me, is technology moves so fast, and I feel like today's technology leaders, at least at our size companies, you have to stay close.
Right.
And so this allowed me the opportunity to stay close, and I still love to develop stuff. So
that's cool. Okay. So you hadn't been able to develop as much for a while, had you, with your current role? Okay, cool. So that's Talent Gather. That's awesome. So that's so cool. We talked to someone talking about servant leadership again. It was talking about a leader can't be on the white horse out front in front of everybody all the time, but they also need to pick up the shovel and get their boots dirty in order to stay in touch with what it is that they're doing and who they're working with. Yeah. So I love that you're that you weren't trying to get your boots dirty. You don't know, that excites you to build it. Oh yeah. But that's really cool. That love that, and I see the excitement in your eyes when you talk about that. So that's great.
That's fun.
So cool. You're operating your sweet spot when you're getting to do things like that.
Oh yeah.
So what's anything on your bucket list or anything out there that you haven't done yet that you would you'd like to check off at some point?
Professionally or anything?
Travel the world again, take Ella Jane on a cruise, anything.
No, it's again, like I feel like I've been just overly blessed, I guess. So I feel like anyways, there's too much opportunity given, to me personally. So I guess what I find so much more joy now so much joy in now is simple things with people you love.
Yeah.
Whether it's, we love to go camping, and being there with the family, or we love to come visit Ella, sitting on her front porch, right? Just those kind of simple interactions are what is to me most satisfying. So no massive ambitions to go see something in particular, but instead, really just enjoy the relationships and enjoy our family that we have today.
You've said that a couple times, that theme, and I love that. I'm learning that right now. So I'm learning from you, is to enjoy those. They're not small moments; they're significant moments.
Yes.
But it's the life we're living each day. And I talk about my almost 6-year-old and 8-year-old, and the way they see life, and the simple things is profound.
It is.
So we're able to sit there and talk about butterflies. Last weekend we were building an ant trap. And trying to trap the ants in there with jelly in it. And that's all my son wanted to do with a spoon, just dig in the backyard. And that was just the coolest thing in the world.
Yes.
And I'm going, this is actually pretty cool. We're innovating here with a spoon in the dirt. Yeah. And it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. I love it. I always think, and I can't remember where I read this, and it described how the enthusiasm a pilot has when they first begin to fly. And they're flying, and it's just everything is so new, right? And I can just imagine the cockpit and the visuals, what they're able to see. And I think somebody asked or inquired, don't you get bored? Now I know you've been doing this for 10 years or 12 years,
right?
And he's like, no. He goes, I find myself connecting to it deeper. It ends up being it's you've been doing something for so long, but he was now a layer deeper, right? And, and I think we see that in our relationships, right? I see that. I've been amazingly married now for 28 years, I think, and my wife and I will be like, this has been the best year yet, and then as you see, like you said, when your kids get older, right? I so much look forward to adult relationships, with my kids. Yes, you miss seeing them as often, but the adult, that next phase is so tremendous, right?
Right.
Anyway, so just that going deeper, I think is awesome.
I love that. It's a great perspective, man. Eric, thank you so much for being our guest today. Eric Presley, awesome guest in the house with us today. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be.